Welcome, everyone, to the Talent Revolution Tales from the Trenches. I'm your co host, Joe Shambom.
And I'm Jill Caniglio Kirk.
Welcome, everyone, and we have a special episode for everyone. We have included Lauren Corey, our social media specialist, with us. Hi, Lauren.
Hi guys.
We want to do something different. This is our 13th episode. And Jill, guess what? It's mid year review time.
Hey, I can't wait. I could use the raise.
Oh, well, we did talk about compensation here. We're just talking about review, right? And peer review 360 with the three of us. So
Oh, yes, it's all
um,
about feedback, right?
that's right. And experiences that we've had through our trials and tribulations of our podcast here. So everyone, we've got a interesting episode where we've asked Lauren to come in and ask us questions. So we're going to flip it around, let Joe stop talking and let Lauren take over and share and give you some insights to what's been going on. So Lauren, I will stop and take it away.
Hi guys, it's Lauren here, and today I get to do something that I've been waiting all season for. I get to interview Jill and Joe. I've watched the season unfold from behind the scenes, and trust me, there is a lot to unpack. We're revisiting the episodes that hit the hardest, the conversations that sparked new thinking, and the real life tales that define the talent revolution. Let's dive in and relive some of the moments that made this season so unforgettable. First, I want to ask you both what surprised you most during the first episodes.
Go ahead, Jill.
Sure, I'll take that first. I guess what surprised me the most was how natural the conversations really end up flowing. I think lots of preparation, goes into putting thoughts down, thinking about, what are important things you want to discuss. But what really surprised me the most was how natural those conversations just took off and took shape, and how much maybe over prepared I felt like I needed to be in order to kind of tackle an episode. I don't know, Joe, what do you think? Did I steal your thunder here?
I mean, and everybody, we did not practice this or share notes. Literally, I had the same thing as the flow of the conversation, right? We're able to feed off of each other and our guests, and it just flows naturally into things. So it was that's exactly what I wrote down. So it was the flow of conversation, which was the most surprising and easy, natural for us.
Joe, I don't know. I mean, I think if you're being honest, you'll say how Jill hit every pitch I threw to her and hit a home run with it when he throw me all those crazy off
That's
the
later
wall
on. But
analogies. But anyway, maybe we'll get into that later.
Okay, for my next question, what would you say your favorite guest moment was in 10 words or less?
I'm letting you go first this time.
Absolutely. So the favorite guest moment was again a Joe curveball that we did a big role playing with someone, and it was natural and fun. We did have a couple fun outtakes of it, but it was great that the guest was willing to enjoy that situation and make it fun, which really related to the whole topic we had.
All right. I really struggled with this one myself, but I would just say what was really special to me was having a guest on that Joe and I both had a different but a kind of special work relationship with. So we did an episode with Mara McElroy, and I felt like and this isn't 10 words or less, but I don't care. I guess it's my podcast. I could do whatever I want, right? That was just one of my favorites, just because it was unique in that we both had a relationship with her and had different experiences with her. So,
All right, and then what would you say is one thing that you have learned this season that has changed your way of thinking?
well, I'll take that one first. For me, again, it's a spin-off of my first one, which is don't worry about being so prepared. If there's passion around a topic, if there's interest around a topic, um, I think the conversation is going to come together. And the other thing I would just say is sometimes Joe is right. I changed my thinking on that. That Joe, maybe there's times I doubted Joe, but I would just say, you know what, 9 out of 10 times Joe is generally right.
Wow, I appreciate that one. And I'm glad this is being on recording, and so I can use this later in my life. For me, one thing that's learned that's changed thinking is really the listeners, right? They really appreciate what we're doing and take to the stories. And we went to a networking event, and all the folks are like, "Oh, heard your podcast and really appreciated and liked the stories and the information and the content." And it really made it worthwhile what we're doing, and everyone enjoying the conversations. And it just it helped me believe in everything that we're doing.
What would you say is the episode that has challenged you the most as hosts or professionals?
So I guess we're going back and forth, Jill. For me, it was our coaching when coaching in chaos for me because I've been a leader and I've coached and I've worked with employees and I coach hiring leaders and other folks, but it was really for me. It was the techniques that come out of the talent management organizations and coaching side of things. Those were the challenging because it was less intuitive. I was less into that side of the business, right? Or that HR side of training and coaching into those different executive levels. So that was kind of one that really, helped challenge me on that, on the content.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would just say, one of the episodes I really reflected about a lot and have thought about a lot has been our recent AI episode, where I've really looked at, some of the things we discussed in there related to AI enabling kind of personal interaction. I really, took away a lot from that conversation saying if I could really use automation and AI to um, take over redundant tasks, how will it elevate my practice? How will it make me a better practitioner so I really can have that better connection on things that are more meaningful? So I would say for me that was definitely one that stuck with me.
Okay, and then did you guys have any moments that made you stop and rethink your own leadership or your talent approach?
I think this is
I
your
guess
turn, right, Jill?
of course I get all the hard ones first. I would say I would go back to having the conversation around coaching and saying, I think going through that conversation and really zoning in on, what is coaching? How does coaching um, create a certain environment? And it really made me reflect on how can I be more effective at that? How can I be less guiding of answers? And how can I practice more coaching in my leadership than maybe helping people solve problems? Really, how can I take more of that to help other people grow and find the answers for themselves, if that makes sense? How about for you, Joe?
So on my side, it's more the whole concept of everything here, which is really that we're in it together. The whole bringing HR and TA and bringing them together, and that we all care, we all want the same results, whatever size and kind of organization you're in, but we're in it together, and that's kind of where it's rethinking of how do we do that? How can we continually work together and be in it together? Is kind of where I'm rethinking things and trying to showcase that.
Mhm. Great answer.
Very good answer. So, we have had a diverse lineup of voices. Which insight from a guest has stuck with you guys and why?
So for me, it's going back to AI and automation, right? I think it makes it easier, the insights of how it's not as scary as everyone thinks it is, to me at least. It's intuitive and it's really just stopping and thinking of what are you doing, what are you working on, and how can you then implement to make things easier, faster, simpler, and effective for the future. So it's that AI world of things.
Mm. This was very tough for me because I would just say there's something I took away from each conversation. Um, Tough one. I've already talked about a few of the episodes. Um,
I know there's a few coming up. that, not to give insights to everyone, but there's a
That's the
few
other
good
thing.
ones that
Right.
are
There's a few
coming that
great ones
will.
coming up that we haven't aired yet, and there's definitely things to share from those. I guess what I'll say in this one in general is, um, all of our guests have brought such a unique perspective that's different than our own, that all of them have really been, eye-opening to me as far as how I might perceive a certain topic. So, I'll have to circle back to that one on our retake of the next episode, but not one or another stands out more than any of the others to me. But each of the guests just brought such a diverse perspective that, again, I think I'm just amazed with what we can all do when we bring our minds together and all bring our own ideas to the table. So.
Very nice answer. Was there a story that you think listeners don't realize was even more powerful behind the scenes?
Ooh. Um, I think going back to the assimilation plans and really understanding how that plays into every type of world life experiences, right? Nate brought it into football, you bring it into the work life, and really there's a lot of power behind that, of getting that right, onboarding and assimilating into your teams and environments. And it can be school, it can be a sporting event, it could be obviously work. um, you know Sharing that and the impact that it can make on a person, and whether it's, again, those different situations, to be able to drive through it. And some of the stories there was pretty impactful to me.
Yeah, I guess I will share one episode where maybe I was a bit of a I guess I walked into it thinking, are we really going to have enough to talk about with this topic? But we did an episode on job descriptions. And I looked at that saying, why would this be important? Why would our listeners be interested in that? But when I look at it and I think about it and I review the conversation we had, if we don't start in the right place when we bring talent into an organization, it really can lead to misalignment. It can create a lot of chaos. It could certainly disrupt the person's life who's coming into the organization. So I think I definitely had aha moments walking away from that saying, sometimes the basics, which seem really boring, are the most important things. The most fundamental things are essential to get right. And sometimes we don't take enough time with those things, and don't appreciate the high degree of impact they can have. So for me, that was definitely one where I left saying, I need, as a practitioner, to stop and think more about these basic things that do have a big impact.
And not to go on a tangent, but job descriptions start everything, right? It starts the relationship with your hiring leaders, whether
Right.
you're TA or HR. It starts the relationship with your candidates, and it drives everything through for what you're really looking for. So it's a really great, again, analogy. It's not really a Joeism yet, but into those things. So
Yeah, and this is one of those occasions where you were right. I was like, Joe, this is not an episode. What are we going to talk about? And in the end, it's really one of the most impactful things because it reminds me that sometimes we need to get back to basics and we need to focus on basics. And I think in an environment where the complexity of hiring and the whole talent acquisition world is, maybe not in a good place, I think we do need to get back to basics. So in essence, for me, thank you, Joe, for suggesting that. It definitely, made me a believer and made me approach things a bit differently.
but yeah, and it'll go into, I know we got other questions, but it now, with the whole revolution of AI and automation, the job description is even more important. So, all right, we'll stop. We could go on forever.
Might be another episode. We'll see.
So maybe we flip it a little bit. Lauren, tell us what you think. What have you've been with us for several months now, enjoying the time, I hope. But what's it like? What's your experience so far?
I feel like it has helped me grow a lot, especially I would say within even learning about marketing and having real experience with it now, because your classes can only teach you so much. Once you actually get to do like working with the social media, doing rather than just kind of like reading about it is a lot different. I feel like it's helped me grow my skills a lot. And I also feel like having both of you be there for me, I feel like you guys have helped me out a lot in general too, especially with professional things. Jill really helped me when I had like my career fairs, helping me prepare an elevator pitch because I needed help with that. And I feel like just helping me gain confidence within my professional skills, whether it's like going into an interview or, like I said, a career fair, I would say.
So everybody wants to know. Well, we both have a lot of people that have worked for us. Come on, Lauren, give us the real scoop. What's it like working for us and
Uh,
working with us, I should say?
I really like it. You guys really have been very supportive and have been very helpful anytime I have a question. You guys are there to like assist me and make sure that I understand what's going on. I really liked working with you guys.
Well,
Well,
thanks for
hopefully,
being willing to roll with it. Because it seems like there's nothing we haven't thrown at you that you haven't been willing to tackle. So it's certainly been a huge win for us to have you part of this. And I think giving you, something tangible that you can apply your skills while you're learning, while you're at university, is a win-win. So thanks for everything you're doing for us. And yeah, who knows? Lots of new possibilities in 2026 as well. So
Yup, for
I'm
sure.
sure it's a crash course on multitasking and organization skills as well with school and work and the podcast. So congrats on that. You've been awesome, and really appreciate everything.
Thank you. What would you guys say the funniest or most unexpected behind the scenes moment has been so far?
I get to go first.
You
Yes.
want to?
I do. To me, the funniest one was Joe had this great idea. It was our first guest episode. And he had this great idea that we were going to do a skit, and we each had a part to play in this skit. Well, for the life of me, we all came up with fake names for ourselves for the skit. I think we did 3 to 4 takes of it. I kept calling our guest by her real name, which is Brianna, and not in fact, I think her name was Shelby
Yep.
in the skit, but I could not get Shelby out. We must have done that 3 or 4 times. So thank you, Brianna, for being so patient. It was definitely, a memorable moment, and, once we got that finally done on the final take, it felt good, but for me, that was one of the funniest moments, but to be honest with you, I'm sure it's because I was so nervous. I was nervous trusting Joe's idea to try something
Well, and it
different.
wasn't scripted, so it was really
It wasn't
hard.
scripted, right? But in the end, I think all of those nerves, resulted in, after 3 or 4 times and just laughing it out and getting that all out of my system, it kind of was a good thing. So it was a necessary thing, but that was definitely one of my funniest moments.
One thing that goes on that everyone really doesn't know because we do minor production behind it is the interruptions that go on. The dog barking, the Alexa going off, the cell phone beeping, the coughing, sneezing fits, the hair movements or the whatever it is. Those interruptions can get funny because it's like you're sitting there going, oh, did somebody hear that? Is that okay? What's going on?
How about my near
Um,
death experience, Joe, where tears were streaming down my face because
yes,
I had to cough, and all of a sudden I just was like, "Sorry."
the thousands of times that you want to wipe your nose because you can't, but you don't want to, and believe me, that's already happened in this episode. So it's some of those things that people just don't see, and maybe sometimes we don't even see it between each other because we're fighting through those as we still provide a good experience and a good episode with, again, folks, minor production things that we go through. This is really raw conversations that we do share with everyone. And Jill does a fantastic job doing all that.
Thank you
Well,
for editing, right?
all right. What would you guys say that something listeners would be surprised to know about the making of the season?
So I've gotten this feedback several times that they're like, you and Jill must have known each other for years and worked together, and you guys just seem so seamless and connected, and the flowing, and Honestly, we've known each other and we've talked about how we met through networking and but we've never actually worked together. But we flow, right? We've come up with the same answer on the first question here without even prepping each other. It's mindsets, it's connection, it's the good partnership, and that's really what it's. I won't say it's a surprise, but it's just makes it even easier to do the podcast together because of how it flows and we work well together.
Yeah, I think Joe kind of stole my answer there, but but that's okay. I think other surprises are that, you know, I would have never believed that we didn't really need to rely on other people. Walking into this, things, if I think about what did I know about marketing, what did I know about any of the technology that we use for editing, I really knew nothing. I know a lot about HR and I know nothing about the rest of it. So when we walked into this, I really felt like we're going to need to rely on a lot of other people. But at the end of the day, we have figured things out, I think, through being resourceful and just being committed. Um, we've been able to use our own skills and kind of bring all this together. And it certainly has been nice to bring you in, Lauren, to have to offload, some of the workload too. But I would just say it's surprising how much really goes into it and how many other skills are needed outside of just the competency of carrying the conversation and those kinds of things. But I think I'm just surprised that we did this, Joe. So thank you.
What would you say is your toughest moment as a host, and how did you work through it?
So I'll take this one first. I think the toughest moment is really knowing when someone's ready for you to interject, right? When they're done with their thought or idea. So it takes some practice. And going through a few episodes, the more people you bring into a conversation, how do you really, when you don't know the person's mannerisms, know the right point where to feed on the conversation and not cut them off, make sure that you're um, able to keep the conversation flowing without interrupting. What is that fine line, right? And then how do you walk that tightrope? For me, that's one of the uh, most difficult things to navigate, but it does get easier with time. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, no, I mean, that is a tough one, and I think between the two of us with our corporate experience, working with leaders, we've been able to learn how to catch those mannerisms. On my side of things, it's really being hard on ourselves, right? I mean, this is nothing about an episode or a topic in a sense, but did we do it right? Did we get there? Did we see this? Did we want to work on that? Is that perfect into those things? And we've been really tough on ourselves. We're critical of our own work. We hold ourselves to a really high standard and we're succeeding at it, but it's tough to work through, right? And it's there's been several, Jill, it's okay. Or Joe, what about this? And I think we need to do these things, and absolutely. And we push and pull each other, but we're hard on ourselves, and because we want to do well and ensure that our listeners are getting the right value for their time that they're spending listening to us. So it's hard to drive through that way, but that's part of who we are.
What are you guys most excited to explore in the next 6 months?
So the next 6 months is, I think, several things for us. We've already started a launch on another platform, and there's more coming. We have aspirations for several other things that are in the works. So, you know, stay tuned. We've also got some really creative guests coming on, and some that are ready to go in the next lineup, and even more on the way. It's really exciting to come on. I think the flow is even going to go even easier and smoother, and keep driving through those things. But the platforms and the app and the definitely the guests are super exciting to me.
Yeah, no, I would agree, Joe. I would also say that one thing I feel really passionate about is kind of really being real with our audience and bringing not only that guest perspective, but what are our trench stories? What have we done that have been successful? What have our real struggles been? So for me, it's a combination of those things, but it's also making sure that we're really true to our audience, and making sure they can identify with us and we can identify with them.
And then to start wrapping things up, what is one message you want to leave the listeners with as we close out this season?
I guess I'll take that one first. Number one, we want to thank you for your support and for your, I guess, your feedback, right? I know lots of our listeners are people that we may have relationships with and connections with. And every time I've had a conversation with someone, they've brought a balance of positivity, but also ideas, suggestions. And that's really something we value a lot. We want feedback and we want to produce something that's of interest to people. So I would just say thank you for your honesty, thanks for your support, and thanks for your encouragement.
And again, folks, we did not script it, but I wrote almost the exact same thing in my message. Thank you to all the listeners just taking their time to listen and to comment. And we really want to hear from you, though. We really would love your comments on the different episodes, on topic ideas, on guest suggestions, or anything in general. We really, we're doing this for you to hear from us on different insights and topics, but we also want to make sure that it's beneficial and what you're looking for. So we would love your comments and feedback.
And then my last question is, what is one thing you want to say to one another in reflection of this past season?
Now's your
So like,
chance, Joe. This is the performance review.
what's the HR statement? You use what, too positive and wrapped around a negative? Is that what it is? Isn't that the term?
I'll
But no,
never
no, no.
tell.
Compliment sandwich.
Come on, this is
Compliment
the insight.
sandwich,
Where's
right?
the where's the tail from the trench, Jill, on that one? Come on. Um, so for me, Jill, it's been awesome since you took my phone call to come up with this wacky, crazy idea, and we put it into a huge, great production, and the graphics are amazing. Uh, the 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 production of it, you've come through amazingly to do those things where we've divided and conquered into our strengths and some new talents that we've gone in there. Also the sounding board, I mean, you bring a huge ton of experience and ideas, and we're able to play off of each other and give suggestions and work well. And it's already been brought up, but your willingness to, go with some fun ideas, some curveballs that I like to throw in there, and you roll with it, you enjoy it. Hopefully, all the listeners love it as well. But really appreciate it. It's been fun and exciting, and I can't wait for the next 6 months and beyond on that side. The other thing I want to also say, while we have a second, or I have a second, is thank you to Lauren. Thank you for joining. Thank you for coming on. Your thoughts, ideas are invaluable and are going to grow even more with us as a team here.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you, Joe. And one thing, I guess, for me, I want to say is thanks for pushing me outside of my comfort zone always. Thanks for keeping me on my toes. Thanks for not letting me be too scripted or too prepared. Because, like I said, I think it's changed my mindset around a lot of things. And yeah, I think, we have developed what are we, how do we divide and conquer? Like you said, a lot of the same things, but um, I would just say you certainly pushing the envelope, is something I appreciate in our partnership. And, I think we can do more great things together these next 6 months. So I'm really excited about it. I found this to be really something that's very energizing for me. That I really would have never expected. So thanks for pinging me. Thanks for asking. On a whim, I'm glad I said yes. If anyone hasn't seen the episode, she said yes. That one's about job offers, but in any case, it's been a wonderful journey, and I'm really excited about the next 6 months as well.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I think this is the time to wrap it up. So I will close it down here. Lauren, I also want to convey our gratitude for you, number one, for being willing to interview us here for our recap drop mic drop episode here. And I want to thank all of our listeners, most importantly. We really want to thank you for being part of this journey. Make sure you stick with us. Our next season is going to be action packed. Got a lot of great things lined up. And I'm confident that our next season is going to be our best yet because we're just getting started here. So we want to remind all of our listeners to share topics, like and follow us. And we want to wish everyone a great start to this new year. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.